What's up guys? In today's video I'm going to teach you and I'm going to show you how to create a trading bot. This is the definitive video. I will teach you everything you need to know in order to create one, and indeed we are going to do a lot of cool things. So yeah, let's get to that. What is the first thing that you should do? So for example, here we are going to create a trading bot for the platform called MT5. So as you are watching right now, well, this is MT5. You have to create an account with a broker or whatever. That is very easy. I'm not going to do that, but yeah. Okay, once you have that, what we are actually going to do is that we are going to implement a strategy, and we are going to make this strategy profitable. I will show you later the trick to make the strategy profitable. Okay, perfect. So what are we going to do? If you are watching here, you are seeing that we have one graph. We have here one indicator called the RSI. And what we are actually going to do is that whenever there is a cross, for example, here you can see that the RSI is crossing the 30 level, we are going to open a position. So for example, if we are crossing the 30 level from below, we are going to open a buy. But if we are crossing the position, well, the level, for example, the level 70, from above, we are going to open a sell, as you are watching right here. That's what we are going to do. So guys, right now we have to start coding. So here we come to the IDE, and now you just click on new. You click on new, it says expert advisor. We are going to use this one. Press next. We are going to put a name. So for example, we are going to call this our first bot. Next, and finish. Okay, so we are going to basically remove all the code that appears here, and we are going to do this from scratch, from zero. So okay guys, what is the first thing that we have to do? As I told you before, we are going to implement a strategy that is using one indicator, in this case the RSI. So for this reason, whenever you want to use an indicator in a bot, you have to declare two things. The first one, the RSI underscore H, I don't know the name of this symbol, H, and then here we are going to have the array RSI. So basically this is the handle that is basically going to handle the indicator, and here we have the array that is going to store all the information regarding the RSI. So we are going to store everything that we need to recognize the crosses. So MQL5, which is the language of MT5, is basically a language based on events. What does this mean? So for example, here we have to create logic to initialize these variables. Where should we do this? We should do it in an event, and that event in this case is the onInit. So for example, here I'm going to do the following: int onInit, and here inside here I'm going to put all the code needed in order to basically to initialize the indicator. Look, this is a predefined event. So this event is going to execute whenever you start the bot. So this is the perfect place to initialize whatever you have to initialize. So here, as I told you, we are going to initialize the RSI, and to initialize any indicator, always do the following: put an I, and now just put the name of the indicator, RSI. Check this out. Here we have the function that is going to initialize the handle. This handle will later allow us to take the information and store it here. So what is this asking for? So if you check the documentation, look, to check the documentation, you just press this here and then press F1. Here you have, for example, that it is asking you for the symbol, the period of the basically of the indicator, and to which price do you want to apply the indicator. So the first thing that we are asked to give is the symbol. So here we are going to put this. What does this mean? This means the actual symbol. So for example, if you put your bot in a EURUSD chart, then the bot automatically is going to take that symbol, which is the EURUSD. If, for example, you put it in Bitcoin, USD, or whatever, automatically it will take the Bitcoin USD. So this is what it means. If you want it to work only in a specific symbol, you just put here the name. So for example, EUR USD, and it is always going to take the information regarding the EUR USD. Perfect. So we're going to put the current symbol, and the same thing happens for the period. So for example, imagine that you put this on a chart that is the 15-minute chart. So right now you could choose here 15-minute chart, but it will only work in that period. But if you put here this, it will always work in the period that you have your chart. So for example, if you put it in 1 hour, it will work there, and if you put it in 15 minutes, it will work there, and it will take that information. Perfect. So now, the period of the RSI, that depends on your strategy, on how you configure that. So for example, here I'm going to put 16. I think usually people put 14, whatever. Perfect. And to which price do we want to apply this? We want to apply it to the price close. Usually the indicators are always applied to this, but yeah, if you want to change that, you are free to do that. Perfect. So now problems may occur, and this means that, for example, this variable that we are trying to initialize may not be initialized. So to fix this, well, not to fix, to prevent this, we are going to check that, hey, if this is invalid, we are going to basically tell the user that, hey, the indicator was not loaded. And here we are going to return init failed, so that the bot closes and it doesn't continue executing. Otherwise, if it is working, so it doesn't go inside. Remember, I know I've said it before, if you don't understand what is an if, what is a condition, you have my course. There I go very deeply on the details of programming. So yeah, if this works, now what we are going to do is that we are going to initialize the array. We are going to put here array set as series. What this function is basically doing is that, MQL5 by default is storing the data in a way that the first value of the array is not the last one of the market. And we want that because that is quite useful. You will see that later when we want to check across. But yeah, perfect. Now we have init, well, we have done the onInit. I was missing that here we have to return that init was succeeded. Init succeeded. Yeah. Perfect. And now what we are actually going to do is that we are going to use, well, we are going to implement another event, and in this case, it is going to be the on the init, on the initialization. This receives a parameter which is called const_int reason, the reason why the bot they initialized. There can be a lot of reasons, but what we are actually going to do is that to not make the computer be always taking information and storing the information of the indicators, we are going to release the indicators that we have used. So for example, here we are going to put RSIH. If this is different than invalid handle, we are going to call the function indicator release. And what are we going to release? We are going to release the handle that we have here. Okay, so let's go for the next event, and in this case is the one that we are going to use the most, which is the onTick. What does onTick mean, and when is this executed? By the way, this previous one is executed whenever the bot is closed, and here this one is executed whenever there is a price change. So for example, I think the markets are open now. Let me check. Yeah, I don't know if this one is open. I think it's closed. I don't know. Yeah, it's open. So for example, whenever there is a price change, the onTick event will be executed. Whatever you put here will be executed. So that is why this is very useful. So whenever there is a price change, you can detect across and open the position. Perfect. But to detect that, we have to fill this array with the information needed. So for example, to fill that array, we are going to put here copy buffer, and we are going to send the handle of the indicator that we want to store the data. Buffer number. In the course, I go very deeply on this, but in summary, For example, here we have this indicator that only has one line. Whenever you want to access to this line, you just put here a 0. If you have an indicator with several lines, here I don't have it, imagine the MACD. If you want to access the MACD, you put the 0, and if you want to access the signal line, you put a 1. If you have an indicator that has 3 lines, in order to access one line, you put 0, the other one 1, and the other one 2. That, and so on, so on, so on. Perfect. So now, starting position. From which candle do I want to start taking values? Look, to prevent false signals, we are going to take values from not the last one, because this one is always moving due to the ticks. We are going to take values in the previous of the last one. So this is the candle 0, this is the candle 1, this is the candle 2, this is the candle 3, 4, 5, and so on, so on, so on. So here, as I told you, we are going to take it from the previous of the last one. So here we put a 1. Okay, how many do we want to take? Since we are going to detect a cross, we need to take 2 values. And by the way, although you're watching here a line, this is not actually a line. These are dots, these are points here that are connected with a line. So you just have to have that clear. That here you have a dot, which is a value, here you have another dot, which is a value, here you have another dot. That is what we are actually going to load. Perfect. Perfect, so now it is asking us that, hey, where do I store this? We have our beautiful and amazing, crazy array. So we are going to store it there. Perfect, guys. So now it is time to create a special function that we are going to use so that we are not always opening a position, because check this out. For example, in one candle, for example, in the 15-minute period, in one candle, there could be a lot of ticks. So for example, in the 15-minute period, there can be, I don't know, 1,000 ticks. So if you detect a cross here, since this function is being executed on every tick, and you have to open a position on a cross, it is going to detect thousands of ticks, and it is going to open thousands of positions. So to prevent that, we are going to create a function that will only allow the bot to open positions whenever there is a new candle. So only in that moment. To declare that function, we are going to put here bool. Remember my course, here you have all the types and all that explained. Bool, new candle, we are going to call it like that. Check that this is different. This is not an event, this is a custom function that we are creating. New candle, and here I'm going to declare a variable that is basically the number of bars that are loaded. This receives the current symbol, and this receives the current period. That's right. Okay, so here I'm going to declare another variable, and I'm going to put current bars, and I'm going to say, hey, give me the symbol and give me the period. And you may be wondering, Kevin, what are you doing? Why are you loading the same information twice? Look, whenever you call this function, you are going to update this variable. But this other variable is not going to be always updated. So here we are going to have the previous number of bars. So for example, let's say that we have 10 bars. Okay, we have 10 bars. We call the function, this loads how many bars we have, and it says 10. Okay, since it has the same number, we are not going to do anything because we are not in a new candle. But whenever we call again this function and we check this value, it will say 11. Okay, now this value is different than this other one. So then we are in a new candle. So we have to update this other value and say, okay, now this that was a 10 is going to be an 11. Okay, how do we actually do that, guys? Quite simple. If current bars is different than bars, this means that we are in a new candle. So what we are actually going to do here is that we are going to update the value of bars by putting here current bars, and we are going to return true. The function new candle is saying, hey, yeah, it's true, we are in a new candle. If we don't go inside here, it means that we are not in a new candle. So we are going to return false. Perfect, we have this function. So now the positions are only going to be open when this happens. So let's call our function. And now inside this if, we have to put the logic regarding opening buys and opening sells. So here we are going to put, well, let's put now the logic of the crosses. Okay, what is the logic of the crosses? Detecting a cross in MQ5, well, detecting a cross in programming is super simple. You just have to think the following. So, for example, let's see a clear cross, for example, this one. Why are we watching here a cross? Let's say that we have here this dot, and then here we have this other dot. Check the values. The value of the previous one is 79, and the value of the next one, of the last one, is 64. You can see that the previous one was above the level 70, but the next one was below the level 70. So this means that there was a cross, and in this case, a cell cross. So let's detect the by cross. Let's check another one. For example, here. The value here is 24, and the value here is 36. Quite simple. If the previous value is below the level 30 and the next one is above, it means that we are in a cross, in a by cross. So here we are going to put the following. If this is going to be, by the way, the by. If RSI 1, this is why we use the array zeta series, because 1 refers to the previous one. And remember that we are only loading 2 values. If the previous one is below the level 30 and the actual one is above the level 30, we, my friends, are in a buy position. I was going to say it, sell. Okay, we are in a buy position. We are going to put here buy. We will later put the code related to basically opening a buy. Perfect. But if this condition is not fulfilled, we have to check if we are in a sell, and it is actually more or less the same. So here we are going to put the opposite. So for example, now we are checking that the previous is above and the latter, the next one, the latest, is below the level 70. Okay, and here we are going to put a comment which is going to be sell. Amazing, guys. Now what we have to do is that we have to open the positions. Okay, first of all, for opening the positions, we have to take the actual price. There are hundreds of ways of taking the actual price. The one that we are going to use is the following. So we are going to declare a variable, and we are going to call, in this case, this variable called bid. Okay, we have to take that value. So we are going to call symbol info double, and here I'm going to put symbol, and I'm going to put symbol bid. Okay, but one thing, this can return a lot of decimals, and this can be problematic. This can give us problems if we want to open positions. For example, let's say that it returns a number with 9 decimals. That is going to be a problem, and it is not going to allow us to open a position. How do we fix this? We are going to normalize the value so that if, for example, this has 9 decimals, it is going to normalize it to 4 decimals. So for example, to not have any problems, what we are going to do is that we are going to say, hey, give me the number of digits that, well, the number of decimal values that this market has. This returns that. Perfect. Now we are going to load the ask in the cell. I'm not quite sure if for the cell is the ask, if for the whatever. I think it's right. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So now we are loading the ask, and this is right. Now it is time to open the positions. How do we do that? First of all, we have to include a library that will allow us to do that. So we put here trade.mqh. Perfect. And here we put ctrade and we put trade. Okay, we are loading the class trade from this library, and here we are basically declaring an object. This object will allow us to open positions. Check this out. Trade by. Perfect. The volume, this is the lotage. So for example, we are going to put one lotage. The symbol, we are going to put the current symbol. The price, we have the price, bid, stop loss. This is amazing. Well, this is curious. So let's say that we want to have a stop loss of 100 points. So here you should have the price of that. How do we do that? So for example, it is not as simple as doing bid minus 100. No, you have to decrease the value of a point. So for example, here we can see that I'm going 100 points below but the value is like 0.000. We have to take the value of each point and multiply it by 100. And here that is quite simple. We put here by, this is multiply, this. This means the value of the point of the actual market. Perfect. And now we have to do the same for the take profit. So bid plus 100 point. That's right, perfect. So now we are opening a buy. Now it is time to open a sell. And it is actually the same. So here, instead of buy, we put sell. We don't have to put the ask. We don't have to put the bid. We have to put the ask. We are going to replace that. And remember, whenever you always open a sell, the stop loss is above. So here, instead of instead of subtracting, we have to add. And here, the take profit is below, so we have to subtract. And ladies and gentlemen, we have created, okay, wait. Here we have an issue, and is that, okay, this is not int, this is void. You have to compile and check that you don't have any errors. We compile, and now there is no errors. So now it is time to check if the bot works or not. How do we do that? We are going to come here to see, well, I don't know, view, and here you will have something like a strategy tester. If you press Ctrl R, you will see that. So we press that, okay, I hide that. So for example, let me, show it. So now you have this view, you just come here and press unique. And now you have to do the following. Let me make this bigger. You have to choose the bot that you just have created. In our case, is this one. Now, on which market do you want to test it? So for example, if you want to test it on a specific market, you just choose it here. Okay, the time period, for example, I'm going to use 15 minutes. Now, this is the crazy part. From which time do you want to test it? You can test it for years and years and years. That will take a lot of time. But yeah, for example, now I'm doing basically 2 months. I'm doing a test of 2 months. And now, this is important. To simulate the best trading possible, to make the simulation the most accurate, we are going to put here some delays. Check that here, this is saying 22 milliseconds. So basically this is on average what it takes the computer to send an instruction to the server. So we are going to choose this one, which is the average. And then this is the most important one, model or something like that. You have to choose the every tick based on real ticks. Otherwise, MQL5 is going to generate random ticks. Okay, now you choose with how much money you will start that simulation, the leverage, and now finally you press on visual mode. You press here and let's start the simulation. Okay, wait a little bit and check this out. Let me turn this on. Check this out. Now this is opening positions. The bad thing about this is that not all the positions are shown. You have to wait a little bit. Look, you can see that this one was not shown at the beginning and later you can see that is here. But for example, we have these things and it looks like it's working fine. Indeed, if we come here, we can check in the graphic the balance. The balance is the blue line and the equity is the green line. So you can see that apparently it is going fine. But look, no strategy is perfect, and the best way to test it, well, this is actually just to test that it is working, that it is doing the thing that you want it to do. But to make it profitable, this is important. No strategy is perfect, but to make it the best possible strategy, you have to change the parameters. Look, for example, in this bot, what we are doing is that the buy level is always at the level 30. The sell level is always at the level 70. The stop loss is always 100 points. The take profit is always 100 points. The period of the RSI is always 14. Look, we can change these values so that we find the best possible combination that will give us more profit. So, we could spend hours and hours and hours changing this by hand, looking for the best possible option, but there is a more simple way. Look, instead of hard coding, putting here the numbers, what we are going to do is that we are going to allow the user to put the numbers that he wants to put. So for example, here, we're going to say, okay, this is going to be an input. And here for the RSI, let's put here RSI period. Let's say that at the beginning is going to be 14. We're going to put here a comment so that the user sees that in a nice way. RSI period. Okay, perfect. And we are going to replace this by that value, period. Later, I will show you the cool thing. Okay, so now we have to change the by level and the cell level. So here, input, and here I forgot to put int. Okay, I don't know what I touched, yeah. Input, int, and we are going to put by level, and we are going to put at the beginning 30. So let's put here by level, input int, cell level, and we are going to put here 70, and we are going to say here cell level. Perfect. And here input int, the profit value, for example, value, we are going to put 100, and here take profit, input in TP, stop loss value, and we're going to put here 100. Perfect. Let's put here stop loss. That's right. Okay, so now we have to replace, for example, by level. So here we replace that. Okay, cell level. We go where we put it. Where we have written the 70s, and we are going to replace that. Okay, take profit, we are going to replace the take profit. So for example, here, we should replace that. And finally, the cell value, we are going to replace that here. Okay, so let's compile and check this out. What we have actually done is that if we go back here to parameters, you can see that now the parameters that we have created appear. And here, something else appears. Okay, let's go back to the configuration. You can see that we left this on enabled, disabled. This is not disabled. Look, this is the optimizer. It will optimize your strategy and it will choose the best parameters. So for example, if we want to make this work, we could press slow, and we can come here and now check that we can select this. So for example, if you select this, it means that you are looking for the best combination of these parameters. If you leave this like this, it will not check anything here. Let's check all of them. And now, for example, let's say that the RSI period that we want to check is that it goes from 14, and to make this takes time. The more values that you put, the bigger, the more time it is going to get. So for example, here I'm going to put 30, and it's going to go in steps of 2. So for example, here we are going to put the buy level from 15 up until 50, and it's going to be in levels of 1. Here the sell level is going to be from 85 on levels of -1 up until 50. That's right. And the take profit is going to go from this and up until 150, and here up until 150. Check this out. The cases that we are going to check are, if I'm not wrong, 30 million cases. As I told you, the bigger the numbers you put, the bigger the test that it has to do. So if we start this, you're going to see that this is going to take a crazy amount of time. And when I say a crazy amount of time, I truly mean it. So for example, here it is saying something like 3,000 hours. That is crazy. But check what is happening. Here you have these dots, and here what you can see are the results. And check this out. We have said that let me check where was this. Yeah, we have said somewhere in the config, that here. We have said that we want to optimize it so that at the end of this period, the strategy returns the maximum balance. Okay, so check that here on the results, we are watching that for example, here, this configuration is the one that by now, because it hasn't checked all the configuration, he has, the computer has still 2,000 hours. This combination of values are the ones that are going to give you this profit, 1,000 euros. These are the combinations that are going to give you that profit on this test. Look, as I've told you, no strategy is perfect. Maybe in these 2 months it works perfect, but in the next 2 months does not. The thing that you should do is that you should increment the test, for example, to 2 years. And if in those 2 years it always works, it means that, yeah, you have a great strategy. But yeah, guys, I'm not going to make this video any longer. I think that it is super long, almost half an hour. But yeah, I hope you truly enjoyed the video. I hope you understood some things. And yeah, guys, you can see that it is actually something very simple. This is how you create a bot. This is how you make it profitable. That, yeah, it gives profit. You can see that it is not difficult. You just have to later find the best levels, the best combination. But yeah, guys, if you still have doubts, remember that you have my course on which I explain everything on detail. How to program. That's what I explain. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like it. If so, please give it a like, share, subscribe, and we'll see each other in the next one.